We now pay our respects and walk the cobblestones at the Père Lachaise Cemetery, where some very famous artists from history are laid to rest. One of the most famous and most visited graves here is of Doors lead singer Jim Morrison. There's a long history of fans coming here and defacing the tombstone. That's the prime reason his grave is behind those barriers. This is Frédéric Chopin's grave. Here's the resting spot of the singer Edith Piaf. Here's Oscar Wilde's grave. This is another example of fans disrespecting a grave site. His tombstone is surrounded by a glass barrier to prevent people from leaving lipstick marks on the stone. Apparently that's a thing people do. This is actor Yves Montand, who is interred with his wife, Oscar winner Simone Signoret. This is Sarah Bernhardt, the world-famous French actor from 100 years ago. And finally, this is French singer Gilbert Bécaud. There is a ton of history to take in and appreciate in Paris, too much for one single trip, but we tried to see as much as possible. For example, at the Rue de la Croix Faubert, we briefly took in Les Cinq Dalles de la Guillotine, 5 rectangular slabs of concrete that mark the spot where a guillotine once stood. About 200 public executions took place in this location, the last in 1899. Our next stop was the Place de la République. We went there to find the spot where the first human being was ever captured in a photographic image. It was 1838, and Louis Daguerre, inventor of the daguerreotype, took an image of the Boulevard du Temple from a building that no longer exists. The normally busy streets are empty because of the long exposure time, except for this one blurry man in the bottom left corner, who many guess was getting his shoes shined and would have been standing still long enough to end up in the image. I thought it would be cool to stand in the spot where this anonymous man once stood, and once I read that the original image is actually a mirror image of what Daguerre saw, then figuring out the location was easy. This curve in the road matches what I saw on Google Maps, and once I got there in person, the curve in the road is still there, and an obvious sign I was in the right place. Alright, so after all my extensive research, I found the spot where the first human was caught in an image, and I wanted to come and stand in that spot. So here I am, I've done it. Catch the full Paris episode at The Nervous Flyer, and don't forget to like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel.